Now I'm going to take you all on a tour of Myrtle Point. I'd like to introduce you to a very special friend of ours. We have to say we're quite jealous of this guy. He gets to live up here and sees every single morning, every single sunrise. It's our good friend, the Charlie Brown tree. We nicknamed him Chuck.
We're getting geared up. We're getting ready.
Show my messy car.
This is what a typical hiker's car looks like.
Full of trash.
Also very similar to a contractor's truck, but that's another story for another day. We're at Alum Cave Trailhead. Probably the most popular trail in all of the Smokies for several good reasons. It's the shortest to the top of the mountain where Leconte Lodge is. It's got views. It's got a creek, which you may hear in the background. And today, we're gonna go do sunrise from Myrtle Point. Probably, well, definitely in our top 5 spots for favorite sunrise. But you gotta work a little bit to get there. It's right at 6 miles from where we stand right now. You got everything?
I think so.
Well, we won't know it until you find out you don't. So let's get the show on the road. What do you think?
Yep. So we're just getting started. This trail follows Alum Creek for the first 1.5 miles or so. First mile or so of this trail is fairly gentle, aggressively level. Probably can't tell it by how much huffing and puffing I'm doing, but we're practically sprinting this morning. So we'll probably get up there too early, as usual. Well, at 1.4 miles, you arrive at Arch Rock. You know you're getting close when you cross a couple footbridges. Arch Rock often gets confused with Alum Cave Bluff, but it's technically not a cave, it's an arch. It's a big hole in the rock where you can walk through. Once you pass Arch Rock, it starts to get serious. Pretty steep most of the way. It shoots up. But you're not too far from Inspiration Point. So that's good.
Once passing Inspiration Point, you get to Alum Cave Bluffs, the namesake of the trail. And this is, without a doubt, the steepest section of the trail.
halfway, exactly halfway, 2.5 miles, you arrive at Gracie's Pulpit. The hike between Alum Cave Bluff, Gracie Pulpit gives you some good views of the chimneys. And good news is, after Gracie's Pulpit, you got about 1/2 mile of downhill. Don't get too excited because you have to come back up that later. So we just got through finally with a monotonous mile. Just crested over the switchback steps. The trail don't get really much easier after that, but you get some views. It helps break it up a little. From this point, you got about 1.25 miles to the lodge. So it's a home stretch. So we just passed the world famous shelf, which is one of the most photographed spots on this trail. But just past that, about 50 yards, you arrive at Hallelujah Turn, which signifies the last of the uphill before you reach the lodge. From here, it's just a 1/4 mile flat, easy hiking through what we call the Enchanted Forest. But if you're going on to Myrtle Point, which we are, still got a little bit of a climb left, but if you're going to the lodge, your climbing is over.
Well, we've passed the lodge and we've passed the shelter, and we've hit an open spot along the trail right before High Top, what we call Apollo Ridge. And while we're standing here on Apollo Ridge, as we're looking over to the east, there's sort of a little plateau that is actually Myrtle Point. We're looking at where we're going to be in about, it's about 1/2 mile from here, roughly.
We have made our way up from the lodge. You get on the Boulevard Trail and you make your way up to High Tops, which is the actual Leconte summit. And you come back down a little ways and you arrive at a spur trail junction that will split off. It will take you to Myrtle Point, which is our destination this morning for sunrise. Make sure you stay straight or right here. Don't turn left because you'll continue on down the boulevard for another 1,000,000 miles. So heading to Myrtle Point, this junction, pay attention. Here we are, Myrtle Point. Made it a little early, but better to be early than late. But as far as sunrise goes, Myrtle Point is the place to be in the Smokies, that is. And we're gonna make our way down to Adam's Perch, that's what we call it. It's a nice spot for viewing. Look. So we're going down to Adam's Perch. You notice the trend on some of the way these places are named. For some reason, people name them after us. For certain. So there's the whole saying that our buddy Chris Malden taught us once that says, always never the same. And after 50 some odd trips to Mt Leconte, this is the first time I've ever seen a sunrise quite like this. And it may be one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen, honestly. You got those clouds over that way on the ridge. You see the light rays coming in, and these clouds up here brightening up. It's quite spectacular, I have to say.
So there you have it. Probably the most popular trail in the Smokies for several good reasons. And I hope you've enjoyed this trip with Up and Atom Adventures up Alum Cave Trail to the summit of Mt Leconte in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.